Well, you might be kind of triggered by the title of this video and you may actually think it is clickbait, but it isn't. FSR and DLSS are actually, well, destroying is a very strong word, but they are actually damaging the gaming industry. At least the PC gaming development in some aspects, but maybe not the ones you're thinking about. First off, FSR and DLSS are very good technologies now that they've matured, bringing the possibility of very high FPS numbers with a slight trade-off in image fidelity. Meaning that it won't look as good as native resolution without FSR or DLSS, but it will look close, very close to native resolution while bringing a lot more FPS, at least in games that are well optimized for DLSS and FSR, of course. As for FSR, it is very important for consoles where you sit, let's say, 1 meter or more away from the television, meaning that you won't actually notice the visual difference since you're sitting away from the television, and you'll have way more FPS on consoles. It is very important. So what's the actual downside of these technologies, and what part of those same technologies is actually damaging the PC gaming development? Let's go into it. Today's video sponsor is GGG, where using my SKG discount code leads to a 25% off across several products, making a Windows 10 serial key only $16. After the payment, you'll receive the key in your account and all you need to do is to introduce it in your Windows settings and bam! You have an activated system. Well, if you don't know, one of the biggest reasons why human technology actually evolved like it did through the ages was due to human laziness. Because people always look to do the same or even more with less effort. And the second reason is most likely attached to the first one as well, and it is profit. Because once again, they look to do more with the same effort or even less. Like I said before, once again, FSR and DLSS are awesome technologies, but they are spoiling the developers. As PC gamers, we've been plagued with dozens, if not hundreds, of badly optimized titles that should run and look way better than they do, or they did, but they didn't, because the developers didn't put enough money and time into them. And as soon as the DLSS and FSR matured to the point of actually delivering very good results, developers made some kind of and after that, most developers have been using those technologies as some kind of band-aid for their poorly optimized titles. And this once again because of laziness and profit, because why would they spend so much time actually optimizing their game to the point of being playable if they can just use FSR and DLSS and the game will perform better? Less money spent, less time spent. And the worst part of this is that people don't actually understand what I'm saying here, or at least most of people don't, and they are actually supporting this without even knowing. I mean, some days ago I actually saw someone on Facebook saying that Hogwarts Legacy is not badly optimized at all. I am running it on an RTX 4090 4K max settings with the DLSS performance and I'm achieving 140 FPS. I mean, what? You actually bought a $1,600 enthusiast level GPU to actually play at 1080p upscaled to 4K at 140 FPS. I mean, explosion. How insane is that? Because some people think that playing at 4K using the DLSS performance, balanced or even quality mode is actually playing at 4K, but no, they're not playing at 4K. And I kind of understand using the quality mode because at 4K the resolution is higher, and at quality mode you're actually upscaling from 1440p, which is actually decent. The final result is very close to native, if we're talking about 4K. Depending on the title, of course. But if you're using balanced or performance mode like this guy was using, well, you're just not playing at 4K at all. The quality, the image fidelity will be much lower than it should be at 4K, and even then, you're kind of just having like 120 or 140 FPS. So, yeah. In my opinion, an enthusiast level GPU like, for example, the RTX 4090 should be able to run any game, any recent game at 4K max settings, at least 80 average FPS, okay? And I believe that the developers should look into it when developing a game to make their game run at least at 60 FPS max settings on an enthusiast level GPU, at least. And then of course use DLSS or FSR for those that have no issue trading a bit of image fidelity for a lot more FPS. This because although DLSS and FSR are getting better by the day, they still have some issues with motion artifacts, for example, something that you can notice in some titles even in quality mode. This of course if you're playing, let's say, at 50 centimeters away from your monitor, or even less. Actually, some games rely so much on these technologies that they have piss-poor TAA implementation, so the temporal anti-aliasing, that will actually make the DLSS and FSR look really close to native, and in some scenarios even better, with Cyberpunk 2077 and Deathloop serving as examples. And now with frame generation being a thing and being used more and more, I believe things will get even worse. And on top of this, you actually have recent games like Dead Space Remake and Returnal that have a very bad DLSS and FSR implementation, where you can easily see the difference in texture quality when looking at the character or even the environment. I mean, DLSS and FSR should look a bit blurred compared to native and, let's say, with a bit less detail. But not like this, where you can almost immediately notice the difference, and at least for people wanting to play the game at their best in terms of visual fidelity, it kind of breaks the experience. This all to say that humans are greedy and lazy, and with the DLSS and FSR being used more and more and getting better and better, and with frame generation being a thing as well and being on the NVIDIA side, and now, at least according to AMD, gonna be on the AMD side as well, I do believe that the amount of unoptimized titles, at least for PC, will get worse with time. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, sadly. And that will basically lead to games that should run, let's say, at 60 or 70 FPS natively without the DLSS and FSR, they will most likely run at 70 FPS with the DLSS or FSR. I mean, we can actually see that nowadays. Where we have amazing games both in terms of gameplay and graphics that run better natively than other games that look visually worse do with the DLSS or FSR. It's where we are right now, I guess, and sadly, people are actually getting used to it. Sadly, once again. Makes me very sad, actually. Well, for me personally, I will run a game natively any time of the day, any day of the week, any week of the month, and every month of the year, as long as I can achieve at least 90 average FPS. If I can achieve around 90 FPS on a single player game, I will run it natively 24/7, 365 or 366 days a year, okay? If I can't do it and I actually want more FPS, then I will most likely use FSR or DLSS, but in quality mode, never in balanced, and never, and I repeat, never in performance mode. Never. I could actually, and I'm telling you, I could actually be running the game. I would prefer to run the game at 60 FPS than use the DLSS or FSR to performance or balance mode. Just big nope. If I have that resolution in my monitor, I want to run it at that resolution with those, with all the pixels that I can get, okay? So basically that's it. I will only use the DLSS and FSR if my card can't absolutely get at least 90 FPS. Overall, at that or more, I'm perfectly fine. And just to add, I really prefer native resolution because even in games where the DLSS and FSR are very well implemented, native resolution will always look better, sharper in 99% of case scenarios, okay? Unless the game has a very, very bad TA implementation. Otherwise, it will look much better natively, it will have more detail, it will look crisper, it will look sharper, just much better because you actually have more pixels, okay? Because when you use FSR and DLSS, you are actually upscaling from a lower resolution, so the pixels that you're gonna have are still the same. Are lower because the render resolution is lower and it just uses AI to upscale the image and so on based on... Yeah, that's my cats. Hulka. Nigga. This big boy. He wants something. Anyway guys, that's my opinion on FSR and DLSS. great technologies that are spoiling the developers. Let me know what you think. That's all for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video, and thank you very much for watching. By the way, the first episode of PC Doctor Season 1, Episode 1 is coming out tomorrow. So yeah, I'll be basically helping people, telling what they can improve in their builds and kind of troubleshooting their issues with photos and videos that they sent and descriptions as well. So be sure to not miss that video. Thanks a lot for watching and see you in the next one.